But we do start with Manchester United. Ruben Amorim has issued a pretty emphatic hands-off warning to Al-Hilal over captain Bruno Fernandes. Al-Hilal are willing to make Fernandes one of the best-paid players in the world and pay United £100 million to sign him. Around half an hour ago, Amorim held a news conference in the aftermath of their post-season friendly in Hong Kong. This is what he said when asked whether Fernandes had just played his final game for the club.
I don't think so. I don't know for sure. Nobody knows, but I don't think so. I think he's seeing us taking some actions to change all the things, and I think that is all that he asks. I think he wants to stay. He's saying no to a lot of things, but it shows that he wants to win, and I think he's really young, he's really good. He needs to be on the best league in the world.
And do you think, so just to follow up, in terms of the money potentially being available from Al-Hilal to the club can turn that down though?
Sorry?
Do you think that the amount of money that Al-Hilal are offering, supposedly, the club can turn that down?
Yes,
the financial
yes,
picture?
we can find another way to win money.
Ruben, have you spoken to Bruno? I don't know how it works. Do you have to have a conversation with him to clarify the situation, or?
No, I'm of course I'm the manager, I'm the coach, but sometimes it's a decision of the player. But of course I talk with him, I explain things, and I just have that feeling when I talk to someone. You have the feeling if he wants to stay. Of course, sometimes in a lot of games this season he was so frustrated, but he knows what we are doing. So the feeling that I have every time I speak with him is that he wants to continue, for sure, in Manchester United, but you never know.
Ruben, finally, has this trip been useful? And also, when you look at the players that you've got, the lessons that you've learned over the last 6-7 months, do you know what you think the makeup of your squad should be when you start training again in July, games again in
Yes,
August?
I have a clear idea. We have a clear idea what we want. Of course, like you know, we are a little bit limited. We cannot do everything in one summer, but we have a clear picture of what we want. We are working on that for a while. Let's wait and see, but of course we have a clear picture of what we want for the next season.
You've been looking forward to the end of the season, so what for you now? Are you going off on holiday and switching off your phone, or is it to Carrington to do more work and start planning for next season?
No, I can do the work without being at Carrington. I will stay in Manchester for a while, even for the kids to be there in the school, for they don't forget English, but I will be near in this moment because I cannot disconnect now. I will have to deal with some things, and then I will go rest a little bit, but it's hard to disconnect. But I will stay in England for a while.
It's been a very quick trip to Hong Kong, but how do you reflect on the 48 hours, and would you like to come back for longer next time?
Yes, with better results. I think it would be so much fun if you have good results, if we win titles, to come here. We really enjoy the people are really lovely and really respectful. So we are really grateful for everybody. We want to return with more time, but with titles, with better results, with more people watching the game. So of course we want to return.
So you're heading into holidays now, or maybe not so much a holiday for you. Holiday for the players. I just wonder, what's the sort of the main message you want to give to the players as they head off onto their break or wherever they're going? What's the sort of the main message you want them to understand, to take into the summer and then have for the next season? And is it something you want them to kind of think about that over the summer, or you prefer them just to forget about all this and then come back fresh? Thank you.
They will. I was a football player, and when you are a football player, you can disconnect. They know that we underperformed badly this season. Important thing for me is that the body composition, the weight, the training, they need to be ready. We have to use every minute in every week of the pre-season, so we need to arrive in shape. These small things, they have all the measures. We had a briefing about that. That is the only only way to take action to be better next season. And they know, everybody knows that the next year is going to be massive for everybody. So they don't need to, I have been sending message every week, and they know that next year, I think that is clear, we need to be so much better.
Well, our chief reporter, Kaveh Solakol, is alongside me. To his credit, as ever, he doesn't duck a question, does he, Ruben Amorim? What did you make of what he had to say?
Well, he's just basically saying that Bruno Fernandes is staying at Manchester United. I think he gave quite a lot away in some of his answers. He made it obviously clear that he knows that Al-Hilal are making this big push to sign Bruno Fernandes. We know they're willing to pay up to £100 million for him and treble his wages, pay him up to £700,000 a week. And Ruben Amorim made it clear that Bruno Fernandes has considered that offer, but has decided to stay at Manchester United because he's the United captain and he loves the club. And Ruben Amorim also let us in on the fact that he's obviously spoken to Bruno Fernandes about this potential move to Saudi Arabia, and Bruno Fernandes believes in what is happening at Manchester United. He knows that next season is not going to be like last season. The people running the club have obviously told him about their plans, and he is happy to stay and be part of those plans and part of the process of transforming Manchester United. I mean, it's a big, big call for Bruno Fernandes because the money on offer is incredible. We've said all along, though, that Bruno Fernandes is not somebody who is motivated by money. And Ruben Amorim himself said it there, that he feels Bruno Fernandes is still a world-class elite player and it is too soon for him to be moving, with all due respect, to the Saudi Pro League.
Therefore, do you think that if a club, one of Europe's elite, were to show a strong hand to want to bring Bruno Fernandes, that he might be a little bit more easily convinced than he is than going to Al-Hilal?
I think United are pretty insistent on the fact that they want Bruno Fernandes to stay. I think you could look at this and say United have got financial problems. He's 30, he's going to be 31. Why not cash in on him? They've missed out on the Champions League. But I think Bruno Fernandes is integral to Manchester United now. When they go on tour to Hong Kong and Malaysia, the fans want to see Bruno Fernandes. He's the star attraction. He's their best player at the moment. And I know Matheus Cunha is coming in as well, but it would be a massive blow if he was to leave. Now, he's got 2 years left on his contract. He signed a contract extension last summer. 2 years left on it to 2027, plus the option of another 12 months. So if Ruben Amorim is to be believed, and why would we not believe the Manchester United head coach, Bruno Fernandes is not going anywhere. He's going to turn down this approach from Al-Hilal, which would lead to the question perhaps of what is his agent doing in Riyadh? Why was he in Riyadh yesterday being photographed going into the Four Seasons Hotel to have a meeting with senior Al-Hilal executives?
Moving to Saudi Arabia. This man here, Bruno Fernandes, what's the latest?
And to Al-Hilal. Al-Hilal, again, they're going to be flying the flag for Saudi Arabia in the Club World Cup. They want to have a big statement signing. They want to have a new toy to show off as well, especially in that first game against Real Madrid, which will be such a high-profile occasion. They are not giving up trying to sign Bruno Fernandes. Manchester United have made it clear the player is not for sale. He's our captain. He's starting for them in their friendly against Hong Kong today. But, of course, Al-Hilal are backed by the Saudi Arabia Sovereign Wealth Fund. They have incredible riches behind them. Not only that, I've been told that Al-Hilal have a degree of autonomy when it comes to transfers as well. They've got other sources of wealth. So as well as being controlled by PIF in Saudi Arabia, they have other very, very wealthy backers as well. And for a long time, they've wanted to sign Bruno Fernandes, and they are putting incredible riches on offer. You know, he's said to earn somewhere between £200,000 and £300,000 a week at Manchester United, one of the highest earners at Old Trafford. But if you take into account tax, half of that is tax, so his take-home pay is probably going to be around £150,000 a week. What the Saudis are saying is, come to Riyadh, play for Al-Hilal, we will pay you at least £700,000 a week.
Tax
Free.
Oh,
I think if you stay in Saudi Arabia, if you stay out of the UK for, is it 2 years, then it is all tax-free, as long as he doesn't come back to the UK. And you would think he's from Portugal, so if he goes from Manchester to Riyadh, I don't think he's going to necessarily want to come back to the UK. So £700,000 tax-free. To be fair to Bruno Fernandes, he has not agitated for a move. He is not saying, I want to leave. I don't think he's motivated by money. But the big issue here is that he's 30. He's going to be 31 soon. And even though United are saying he's not for sale, we know what the financial situation is at Manchester United. And if Al-Hilal were to put 100 million euros on the table in front of Manchester United, United would have a big decision to make.
and so too with Bruno Fernandes. There's big money, and money tends to talk in football, as we know.
Exactly. I mean, it would be a big wrench for United supporters if Bruno Fernandes was to leave, because he's the one shining light at United. He's the one player who you think is still a world-class player. But because he's so good, clubs like Al-Hilal are going to be interested in signing him. And I don't think it's all doom and gloom at United, because they're about to wrap up a deal to sign Matheus Cunha from Wolves by paying his release clause. So even if Bruno Fernandes was to leave, at least you would have Cunha to look forward to watching.
And obviously, this is a club that they've been pretty open about money being tight. So if you want to bring players in, then some players have to make way.
Amazing to see, even in difficult seasons, to see how many fans this club have. So I think it's our duty to be here. It's a pleasure. They are outside. They are following this club for so many years, and for us, is really important to have that connection, because in the end, that is the real thing, the thing that makes this club one of the best in the world. So we are very pleased to be here.
Yeah, it was a quick turnaround, obviously straight on the plane after the game, but we're all very excited to be over here. We don't get the opportunity to be over this side of the world and see our fans over here very often, so we obviously want to make the most of it. We got off the plane and there was hundreds of people waiting for us to take pictures and welcome us to the country. So yeah, we're excited to be over here and obviously looking forward to the game tomorrow.
Target, I will not tell you now. The important thing is to focus on if you want a target, is to win the first game. Then we'll see. We have a lot to do during this summer. We have to prepare the team. But when you are in Manchester United, people are going to expect us to be on the top, but we have to understand the context. So I don't want the team to think about a big target. Just the small target is the winning the first game, and then we pass to the second game. I have to say that for us not to be in the Champions League could be an advantage to perform well, to perform better, to prepare better the games, to build that core that we need for the future. So I think it's a good thing for us to take advantage, not to have European games. You can see by the performance, you can see by the leadership, the passion that he has for the game. So it's really important, especially in these kind of moments. And you could see that in the last game, I felt that the team was without pressure and they performed quite well. Everybody wants the ball. But we had some difficult moments, and in that difficult moments you can see that Bruno is the guy that take that responsibility. He should be, because he's the captain, he's experienced, so it's really important for us and really important for what we want to build with this team. It was important to finish the season. That was important. We needed to close that chapter. He's not fully behind us, because I have one role of English journalists waiting for the hard questions, so I will rest from that when we finish the tour. But to tell you the truth, I think I closed that chapter. I'm excited, I'm nervous, I want to work to the next season. So I don't have that feeling that I need to disconnect. I had the clear feeling that I need to close the season. But now it's a new season, so I'm excited at the same moment. So I don't need to rest. I just need to prepare the next season.
And congratulations. What does it mean to you to be on the Hall of Fame at the LMA?
Of course, I'm very flattered, I'm very honored. But more important than that is my happiness to see some good friends, especially this older generation, the generation before my arrival in England. It's amazing to see them all, and you know, really great emotion. Mr. Roy Hodgson, Sir Alex, Martin O'Neill. It's amazing to see them.
I'm sure you had more than half an eye on what was happening last week with two of your former clubs in Manchester United and Tottenham. Tottenham Hotspur finally got that trophy. Were you leaning towards either side in who you wanted to win, and what impact do you think that outcome of that game will have on both clubs moving forward?
You know, the impact is obvious. Tottenham plays Champions League, and of course for Mr. Levy, the millions that the Champions League gives for him is the best news. For the fans, for the players, for Ange, it's a title. And yes, the game was not amazing, but they made history for Tottenham because Tottenham didn't have a trophy for so many years. From what I read, it's just what I read. The impact on Manchester United, of course, is huge in the sense of for how many years Man United is not involved in any European competition. But at the same time, it looks like they are supporting Ruben. They are giving him time and conditions to go forward. And that's, as I read some quotes from him, saying that he's happy that he came and had already this 6 months. When I went to Porto, it happened the same to me. I went in January. I had a difficult 6 months. We were struggling even to qualify for UEFA Cup, and then happened what happened 2 days after. So, but when you ask me if I was cheering, I was divided because by one side, I love United. I have a fantastic relation with Ruben, but in the other side, when I saw Sonny crying with the cup, and also for Tottenham fans, as of course a special feeling. So,
Jose, you're the only manager to have won all 3 European trophies. Your former club are in with a big chance of emulating what you've done individually. What would it mean to you and to Chelsea, do you think, to get the full set?
No, in this moment there is one coach, one player, me and Emerson. What means for Emerson, only him can say. What means for me means my big tattoo on my arm, because I'm the only one to do it. I think Chelsea is a club that wants to win Champions Leagues, not conference leagues, but it's a trophy. And to be the only club in the world to get all 3 is amazing. But attention with Betis. I think Betis can compete. They have a team, they have an experienced coach, they have a great mentality too, so I think it's going to be a good fun.
Jose, I know you've got to go, but very final question. Inter Milan 2010, you were the boss when they won the Champions League. They're back in the final on Saturday. What chance do you give them, and how much are you hoping that they can return that Champions League to the San Siro?
I'm going to be very naughty, but very honest. I was worried they could win the treble, because I didn't want them to win the treble. The treble is mine. But now that they lost the championship and the Italian Cup, I would love them to win the Champions League. But of course, Luiz, Enrique is doing an amazing job in Paris. He transformed the team. They lost, let's say, the player number 1, but they rebuilt it in a fantastic way. So if Luiz wins, I'm also happy for him.
Breaking transfer news reaching us this evening regarding Matheus Cunha's move to Manchester United. We mentioned it just before the break. Carve, what's the latest?
Well, Manchester United have agreed to trigger Matheus Cunha's release clause at Wolves, and they will pay the £62.5 million in 3 instalments. What happened today is that United contacted Wolves and said we would like to trigger the clause, but we would like to pay the £62.5 million in 5 instalments. Wolves turned around and said, you've got to read the contract, it's there in black and white. We signed a new contract with the player in January. These are the terms of the contract. If you want him, this £62.5 million needs to be paid in 3 instalments over 2 years. Now, in the last few minutes, United have gone back to Wolves and said, fine, we'll accept those terms.
Didn't take very long, that, did it?
Oh, I mean, you know, United, it's a negotiation. That's the way transfers work. But ultimately, it's there in black and white. So United don't want to waste any time. They are pushing ahead to sign him. And Wolves have said, fine, that's all good. You've triggered the release clause. We will now give you permission to speak to the player and also for the player to have a medical. So if all goes well with the medical, Matheus Cunha will become a Manchester United player.
The fact that they wanted to pay in 5 instalments suggests that obviously money is a bit of an issue, as it is for a lot of clubs. But you know, Man United are not going to be in Europe next year, so they're missing out on a significant amount of money. So where have they got the cash to do what is quite a significant deal, isn't it? £62.5 million.
That's a question that a lot of people who don't support Manchester United are asking today. Where's the money coming from? We thought United were in trouble financially. We thought they'd missed out on the Champions League, potentially £100 million. How come straight away they can afford to sign Matheus Cunha? Well, obviously the £62.5 million is not being paid in one lump sum. Like most transfers, it's been paid in instalments, and it's going to be 3 instalments of £21 million. Now, for a club the size of Manchester United, you would have to say that is affordable. Of course, they have got financial fair play, PSR concerns like all other clubs. Of course, players will be leaving Manchester United this summer as well, but Cunha won't be the only signing. I think they will make other signings, but the signings really have to work, because you speak to a lot of people in football and they will tell you Manchester United's recruitment has just not been good enough. Now, Matheus Cunha has had a very good season for Wolves. OK, he's had some disciplinary issues as well. Wolves proved that they were not a one-man team when he was suspended for them, but he's a very talented player. He plays for Brazil as well. And the important thing is, if you're a United fan, Matheus Cunha really wants to come to Manchester United. We were telling you last week, even if they don't make it into the Champions League, he still thinks United are one of the biggest clubs in the world. A couple of months ago, we were told that he loves Manchester United. It's one of his dreams to play for Manchester United, and it looks like his dream is about to come true. One final word I'd like to say from Wolves' perspective, because they've played this very well indeed. If you go back to January, we were reporting that Cunha was unhappy, his head had been turned by interest from other clubs. What Wolves did is say, first things first, you need to stay here and help us avoid relegation and stay in the Premier League. What we're going to do is give you a new contract with improved wages, but there's also going to be this release clause that you want. So if it comes to you leaving, we get what we believe is a very good fee for you. We're happy, you're happy, and it remains to be seen in the long term whether Manchester United turn out to be happy as well. But on paper, it looks like a good deal for everyone.
Right, OK, and you never know, it could happen very quickly. We've got this transfer window opening 1st to the 10th. Obviously, that'll depend on his contract and various other things, but things are moving. Matheus Cunha to Manchester United, possibly.
Paris Saint-Germain are champions of Europe for the first time, utterly outclassing Inter Milan in the final of the Champions League. PSG thrashed Inter 5-0 with 19-year-old Desiree Doué scoring twice to announce himself on the world stage. Achraf Hakimi gave PSG an early lead against his old club. Doué provided the assist before scoring twice himself. Gavica Kvaratskhelia made it 4 after another lovely team move. Then another teenager, 18-year-old Seni Muyulo, came off the bench to make it 5-0 less than 3 minutes after coming on. It is the biggest ever margin of victory in the competition's history. It is without a doubt the greatest night in PSG's history, and they did it in tremendous style, completely dominating Inter from start to finish. It's what their Qatari owners envisaged when they took over the club in 2015. Since then, more than €1 billion has been spent. But since ditching Galacticos like Neymar and Kylian Mbappe, PSG have hit new heights and their dream has been realised. They are the second French club after Marseille to win Europe's top competition, the 24th different winner overall, and for the 5th year in a row, the Champions League as a first-time winner. History too for head coach Luis Enrique, who becomes only the second manager to win a treble with 2 different clubs after doing it with Barcelona. Pep Guardiola is the only other manager to have achieved that, and Enrique also becomes the 6th manager to win the Champions League with 2 different clubs. For Inter and their manager, Simone Inzaghi, it was a truly humbling night, and after missing out on the Serie A title to Napoli on the final day of the season, they have now been blown away by PSG in the Champions League final. These were the scenes near the Parc des Princes shortly after Doué scored PSG's 3rd. Supporters had gathered there to watch the game. The stats show how dominant PSG were. They had 23 shots to Inter's 8. In fact, they bested Inter in every category, including chances, possession, passes and touches in the opposition box. It all resulted in 5 goals, and it could have been more. Doué became the first player to be involved in 3 Champions League final goals, with 2 goals from his 4 shots and an assist. He also maintained a 100% take-on success rate. Until tonight, only 2 teenagers had ever scored in a Champions League final, with PSG pair Seni Muyulo and Desiré Doué both getting on the score sheet at only 19 years of age. Prior to tonight's victory, PSG were 4th on the list of teams to play the most games in the European Cup or Champions League without winning the trophy. Topping that list is Arsenal on 211 games.
Wow. Ils étaient pas prêts. Ils étaient pas prêts. Hey, ils étaient pas prêts. No, sorry, because, hey, how is your English?
Muy, no. So bad.
Okay, so, are we, okay.
Let's try.
Osman, dis-moi, personnellement, t'es où là? Comment tu te sens après cette victoire?
So he's asking how he feels about this victory.
Franchement, on en est arrivé depuis très longtemps. On a tellement souffert, ce club a tellement souffert. Et gagner de cette manière, dans cette finale face à l'Inter, un match difficile, mais de cette manière 5-0 en finale, c'est exceptionnel. Ça prouve qu'on a super bien travaillé. Ça fait maintenant 2 ans que Luis Enrique est arrivé au club, il a tout changé. La mentalité de l'équipe, elle est exceptionnelle. On s'est battu jusqu'à la fin, même à 1, 2, 3-0, on voulait continuer. Et moi, mon pressentiment avant le match, je savais qu'on allait gagner ce match, mais dans un très bon score.
Essentially, he said that it's exceptional to win in this manner, 5-0. It wasn't 2, 3 or 4-0, it was 5-0 they won. He gave a shout out to the manager, Luis Enrique. Go ahead, please.
Osman, qu'est-ce que tu as à dire aux supporters parisiens?
Qu'ils le méritent. Après, comme je l'ai dit, toutes ces années de souffrance, où il n'y a eu que des galères, mais il y a eu aussi des bons moments, mais voilà, le club le mérite. La première Ligue des Champions de l'histoire du Paris Saint-Germain, c'est exceptionnel. Voilà, on va rester, ça va rester aggravé.
But Thierry, he was essentially saying...
Bravo!
Ousmane Dembélé was essentially saying
ça va
that
rester
it's been a
aggravé
lot of work.
dans les mémoires. La finale a été exceptionnelle, le parcours aussi il a été exceptionnel. Même si au début ça a été difficile, on est monté en puissance et je pense qu'on mérite cette victoire.
Ça va être le feu à Paris. C'est déjà le feu à Paris.
Ça doit être incroyable, là, ça doit être incroyable à Paris. Mais s'il vous plaît, pas de violence, on casse rien. On est tranquille, on fait la fête seulement.
Very important. He said it's going to be I mean, fire in Paris tonight, but for the good cause. Please, no violence, no fight, no nothing. Very important. Thank you. Merci.
Thank you so much for joining us. Dembele. Okay, we're going to bring you more scenes from here.
Marquinhos, premièrement, j'ai vu que tu as pris du recul pour bien regarder ce qui se passait. Parce que par exemple, pour Désiré Doué, il arrive, il gagne. Mais toi, j'ai vu que tu as pleuré et tu as bien regardé ce qui se passait. Qu'est-ce qui se passait à ce moment-là dans ta tête?
Can I translate really quickly
Yes, go.
for the audience at home? So Thierry was saying that he saw that you dropped back and you just took a moment to really watch what was happening and to take in that moment, what it meant to you, what you were feeling and seeing.
Je voulais profiter de mon moment. Il y a toutes ces 12 ans que j'ai passé ici qui passent dans ma tête maintenant. Je pense ici à les coéquipiers qui ont passé, qui ont souffert avec moi, qui ont eu des difficultés, qui ont fait ce club grandir. Thiago, Lucas, Neymar.
All the different players that have been at this club throughout those different years with him, the experience he's had at this
club. Qui ont fait
club.
ce club grandir pour qu'on puisse arriver jusqu'à là.
What the club has done together to be able to get to this point.
D'un coup comme ça. Dans une finale, 5-0, je ne sais même pas si on met.
In a final, 5-0.
Il y a beaucoup d'explosions d'émotions sur moi. Et moi, je voyais cette équipe jouer, je voyais les gamins courir. Et ça me faisait rêver. Je ne pouvais pas rêver mieux.
It just made him feel like he was dreaming.
Je commençais à pleurer même avant le coup de sifflet. Et après le coup de sifflet, j'ai mis un recul.
Waited for the whistle and then just stepped back and just enjoyed that
He
moment.
also said something very important, that he started to cry even before the ref blew the whistle. So he was crying during the game, realizing what was happening.
It's deep.
Jamie, do you have a question?
I can't believe how small he is. No, because you look so big on the pitch, and that's all for me a sign. You grow, you make the other players in the defence. You're like the father figure of the defence, and that's been the same for a long time. I remember watching you with Thiago Silva as well. You deserve that because you've been a fantastic player for so long for Paris Saint-Germain.
Amazing. Wait. You understood it? You understood, Jamie?
Can I see this? Can I touch it? No. This one.
Yeah. Because he never won it.
I never won it.
I got it now. I was like you.
Can I ask you a question? Just watching that moment with the tifo for Luis Enrique and his daughter, and knowing what that moment must have meant to him, did it give you pleasure as a player to give that moment to your manager?
Oui. Je pense que il a montré vraiment qu'il voulait apporter quelque chose en plus pour cette équipe.
He showed that he wanted to bring
C'est
something
pas au
extra
hasard
to this
qu'il
team.
avait gagné avant. Aujourd'hui,
It's not by chance that he'd won before.
On le voit que lui, il a un grand paquet, le mode tactique de foot.
He's incredible in
Il
terms
parle
of
avec
tactics and football.
émotion. Lui, il sait gérer la tête de joueur, il sait
He
gérer les
understands
émotions.
how to manage the heads
On a
of
vu
players.
aujourd'hui sur le terrain, notre équipe, elle a été très bien contrôlée.
On the pitch today, the team
équilibrée.
is
C'est pour ça
extremely
qu'on a
well
fait un
controlled.
match comme ça. On
He
a le
understands
plan
how to manage
tactique,
a
on a
game
le
like
plan offensif, défensif. Et on a aussi ce plan émotionnel que lui ramène, et je pense que
So
beaucoup d'efforts.
it's a very cool emotional moment to see that
a
Luis Enrique has that after everything that he's been through. To give that moment to their manager is a cool moment. Anybody else? Any more questions?
I don't speak français. Give me a question in français.
Oh, you want one?
Yes.
You're gone? I'll translate?
No, I want to speak in French.
So what do you want? No, come on. Marquis, j'en ai une autre pour toi.
Something else for you.
Non. Wait. Message pour les supporters parisiens, s'il te plaît.
A message for the PSG fans.
Je pense qu'ils sont dans le même état que moi en ce moment. Il y a
Thinks they're in
beaucoup
the same
qui sont là,
state of mind that he's
beaucoup
in
qui
at the
nous ont
moment.
accompagnés pendant tout au long de cette saison,
So many
tout au long de
fans that
ces
have
années.
been with them through all these different years.
Ouh, même partout.
Incroyable. Et à Paris aussi, je pense que voilà, les gars, profitez parce que
can
vous
only
avez
imagine
souffert
what's going
comme
on in
moi.
Paris right now.
Aujourd'hui, c'est notre jour de gloire.
It's
Et on ramène ce
it's
couple à
their day
la
of
maison, on va
glory.
célébrer demain. On va faire une belle balade et on va célébrer.
They're going to celebrate it together in Paris.
Merci, boss. Obrigado.
Yes. Congratulations. Very happy.
Talking about French legends.
A little word from
It was absolutely fantastic, a demonstration tonight, but the difference between the teams was too big. And on top of that, Inter, the way they played, maybe they made it even easier for them.
Boss, are you happy for French
I'm
football?
happy, of course, for French football. You know that.
No, it's just a question, boss. It's just a question. I'm not sitting you.
Of course, Thierry.
Thank you. Me too. I'm happy. Very happy.
You work a lot for French football, and you see the results.
And you too.
I tried as well.
Mr. Becker, can I just shake your hand, please? Legend.
He's an Arsenal fan, that's why. He is an Arsenal fan.
PSG, we were talking about it up there, David. Sorry.
Oh! That was worse than Fox! Oh my God! She's just
It's okay. Call me David.
I've got a lot going on, guys. Sorry,
David!
It's okay. Carry on.
Where's Anita? Where's Anita?
Karen?
Your question, carry on.
Oh my God!
Oh.
Where's Anita?
Come on.
Anita!
I'm trying to stay professional.
Oh,
carry
wow.
on. What's the question?
The question is PSG and what this just means to French football as a whole. It's just, you were talking about kind of how this galvanizes the country, the nation, what the implications that it has that are so far-reaching for the league.
Someone has to be professional. You can count on me. Don't worry. This is why you need me. Let's stay professional. This is why you need me. Go on.
They tuned in.
Don't worry, guys. No, it's great for French football. I said it so many times, being able to win the second one. Paris Saint-Germain for a very long time was a team when I was growing up where it was very difficult to go to the stadium. It was a bit of a rough place, and I said it so many times, and I said it to Nasser the other day, the president of Paris Saint-Germain. I said that he made it a safe place. They made it a safe place. They made it also a place where people want to go. There was a generation of, I will be honest, of David Ginola, George Weah. Let's not forget some greats also back in the day, Safet Suzic, Mustafa Daleb. I'm not going to name everybody, right? They've always been a club where people like to follow, but at one point it wasn't so much of an easy, safe place to go. So they made it safe. They made it a community thing. And now they made it victorious. Because the thing that everyone was waiting was the Champions League. People can relate to that team. When you come from the suburb of Paris, when you are a real Parisian or outside of Paris, what we say, banlieusard, I can see a guy from the suburb of Paris playing now because they run, because they fight for the badge, because they want it. It's outstanding. And finally, like I said, French football needed it.
Well, our chief reporter, Kaveh Solokol, is back with us. We've talked about a significant outgoing at Liverpool throughout the course of the day, with that fee agreed for Trent Alexander-Arnold to go early to Real Madrid. What about a potential huge incoming for the Premier League champions?
Well, we were talking earlier this hour about Liverpool and Florian Vertz at Bayer Leverkusen, and I think they're getting close to doing a deal now. Now, Bayer Leverkusen value him at up to 150 million euros, and Liverpool have now made a bid which is worth up to 130 million euros. So that is around 105 to 109 million pounds. Now, this is a development that's just been reported in the last few minutes, first by David Ornstein of The Athletic, and I think it's clear the direction of travel. Florian Vertz wants to go to Liverpool. He's Liverpool's main target. I think it's only a matter of time before a deal is done. Liverpool have got a good relationship with Bayer Leverkusen because they're signing Jeremy Frimpong from Leverkusen as well. And the crucial thing in this potential deal is the player himself. Now, Bayern Munich made a big move to sign him. Manchester City were interested in signing him as well. And until about a week ago, the information Liverpool had is that the player wanted to stay in Germany. He may stay for another season at Bayer Leverkusen, or he would move to Bayern Munich. They weren't convinced that he wanted to come to England. But earlier this week, they got the information that the player wants to come to Liverpool. He's chosen Liverpool. So that meant that negotiations, talks, discussions about a transfer fee and the structure of a deal could start in earnest, and they've moved pretty quickly, which is why I think he will become a Liverpool player soon.
Well, that point that you just made about moving quickly feels significant as well, because in the era of Jurgen Klopp and Michael Edwards, that was a theme for Liverpool during the summer, that Sadio Mane right at the start of a window, Mo Salah, Gini Wijnaldum the same, and now when it's Richard Hughes looking after things with Arne Slot as well, barely have they lifted the Premier League trophy, Liverpool, and it looks like they're making two really significant signings.
And especially Florian Vertz is like a dream signing for most Liverpool supporters. He is really the one player in his position who every big club in Europe would have wanted to sign. And also, bear in mind the transfer fee. I think we're getting into the territory of what could be a British record transfer fee. If it's more than what
Grealish,
Chelsea paid for Enzo Fernandez, Moses Caicedo, Grealish was 100, Declan Rice was around that figure. I think if we get to something around 115, 120, it would be a record, and it will certainly be a record for Liverpool as well. I think their record at the moment is 75 for Virgil van Dijk, 80 for Darwin Núñez as well. So we're getting into uncharted territory for Liverpool, paying more than £100 million for a player. But they have made bids of more than £100 million before. I think they made a bid for Moses Caicedo as well. So it's not something that we haven't seen Liverpool do before. But Florian Vertz is such an exceptional player, only 22. And I wonder, Arne Slot been involved in this? Has he got on the phone to Florian Vertz and sold him his vision? And that is why Florian Vertz has said no to Bayern Munich and yes to Liverpool.
Response to their £105 million bid for Bayer Leverkusen playmaker Florian Vertz. Leverkusen value Vertz at around 126 million. Up until a week ago, Liverpool believed the player wanted to stay in Germany, but they've since been told he wants to move to Anfield.
I had contact to Bayern Leverkusen last night. They are optimistic to get the deal done very quick, very fast. This is the very clear ambition for both clubs. As I hear, I expect a total agreement between Leverkusen and Liverpool around Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I think this is the day where they can find a total agreement. And as I am informed, there are still talks about a potential additional player from Liverpool combined with a transfer fee in the range of 120, maybe 130 million euro. Both teams are close. The atmosphere is very positive. And Florian Wirtz right now, he is over there in that direction, 90 minutes from here in Herzogenaurach, where he's located right now with the German national team, and he's waiting for the green light to pass his medical. Nevertheless, I'm not convinced if it's the right step in his age right now. I was convinced about the fact it could be a good step to make the step to Bayern Munich first, and then to a really special top club as it is with Liverpool. Maybe in 4 or 5 years. He's 21 years old right now, but I'm not quite sure if he's physically strong enough for the Premier League right now. He has had an ACL. It's not a long time ago, so we have to look on that. But we don't have to speak about his qualities. He's an amazing player. He's an amazing player, one of the biggest talents, one of the most exciting players we have in Germany right now. But it's a massive, massive package if you combine the salary, the signing fee, and the transfer fee.
Questions about the physicality of Vertz then. However, former Leverkusen director Devin Ozek is in no doubt that he has the qualities to succeed in the Premier League.
Yeah, he's an unbelievable intelligent player to understand spaces between the lines, creating chances, an advanced playmaker. But if we talk about Florian Wirtz, we have to give a lot of credits to our CEO Simon Rolfes, because he did a big job in signing him. He believed from the first moment in him, and also Fernando Caro. Both, they are responsible for this signing, and for me it's one of the best signings maybe in the Bundesliga history.
And that's obviously a big statement, one of the best signings in Bundesliga history when you think of the players that have signed there. Is he one of these players that comes along every now and again that just is in that special category?
Yes, for me he's top category.
He's such a talented player, and also he's already that good. He's playing passes with precision, with tempo. He's making his teammates better, but he's also scoring goals himself. He's able to decide games on its own, and that's a quality that I think will lift Liverpool maybe another 5 or 10% more high. They are already that great. I've been there 3 times already, watching City versus Liverpool in that season as well, and I've seen their quality. But Florian Wirtz is going to bring a new quality there, and I promise you, you're really going to have fun with him in the Premier League, watching him, hearing him in interviews. He's already a great guy.
Look, I was really hoping you were going to ask me about him because he's just one of my favourite players on the planet right now, Joe. I mean, where Bayern were mounting their charm offensive, and they thought they had him a couple of weeks ago, by the way, when he decided he was going to leave Leverkusen this summer. And they were building their pitch, and Uli Hoeneß was building his pitch around you're the best player in Germany, you're the best player in the Bundesliga. Now, if I was Jamal Musiala and I was at Bayern, I wouldn't be feeling great about that, to be perfectly honest. But the idea was to pair them together because these two number 10s have been paired together in the German national team by Julian Nagelsmann. It's really worked out. And we have so few of these like proper number 10s, if you like, in English football. So I think it would add something totally different to Liverpool. It would take a lot of the creative burden off Mo Salah. So as he gets further into his 30s, he can concentrate his efforts more on scoring goals because Vertz is about the last pass. He's got a great change of pace. He's used to physical attention. And I think the way that Liverpool have reconstructed the rest of the midfield maybe creates a space where he can have that bit of extra freedom that Xabi Alonso granted him. It would be a huge statement of intent for Liverpool to get him.
Well, we start with this big breaking news this morning concerning Liverpool and Real Madrid, and the two clubs have come to an agreement to allow Trent Alexander-Arnold to join the Spanish side early in a deal worth £10 million. It means that he'll move when the mini window opens on Sunday, June the 1st. And the details of the deal, Real will pay Liverpool around £8.4 million, as well as covering his wages for the month of June. That takes the total deal to £10 million. Remember, they're only getting in 1 month early. Real had originally offered less than £1 million when Alexander-Arnold confirmed he was leaving Liverpool at the end of the season. Trent would have been able to leave for free on June the 30th. Madrid wanted to have the fullback in place ahead of the Club World Cup, and that begins in 2 weeks' time. Well, we've got a Liverpool statement just published on their website. The fullback is now set to join the La Liga club ahead of his expiry of his Reds contract this summer, it says. Liverpool will receive a fee for his services, with the deal to be concluded once the window opens on June the 1st. They go on to say that Alexander-Arnold joined the club in the academy when he was 6. He came through the ranks, as we all know, made his senior competitive debut in 2016 October, and he departs Anfield after 354 appearances, 23 goals, as well as lifting 8 major honours alongside his teammates, which consist of 2 Premier League titles, the Champions League, the FIFA Club World Cup, UEFA Super Cup, FA Cup and 2 League Cups. And he leaves Liverpool with the club appreciative and grateful for his service. Real Madrid have also issued a statement saying that they have reached an agreement with Liverpool that will keep Trent Alexander-Arnold at our club for the next 6 seasons. That is Real Madrid, starting from June the 1st this year, taking him all the way through to the end of June in 2031. They say after listing his club and individual honours, they say that Alexander-Arnold will play with Real Madrid in the Club World Cup, which will be held in the United States starting in the middle of June. Well, this...
Palmer made the difference with 2 assists, becoming the first man in 6 years to register 2 assists in a major European final.
Palmer's teammates were queuing up to pay tribute to him, but the man himself was typically no nonsense when describing his own impact on the game.
Cole, can you talk us through your 2 assists and how they changed the game?
Yeah, I was just sick of getting the ball and going backwards and sideways, so I thought when I next get the ball, I'm just gonna go, and yeah, it worked.
You were part of a team that last season lost the League Cup final, and there was a big, bold comment from Gary Neville saying that the £1 billion bottle jobs. Do you feel, how hurt were you as a player to be labelled with that, and do you feel like no one can call Chelsea £1 billion bottle jobs anymore?
I wouldn't say I was hurt. I didn't really pay attention, to be honest. But I think we showed on Sunday that we can go to a tough place and win. And tonight, even when we was losing, I feel like we've shown good character again, and we come back. Yeah.
How is the feeling when you were not a part of a team which was in a group stage and you jump in to win the trophy?
The team had to go to Kazakhstan, and as Tosin, he didn't really enjoy it because it was 11 hours flight. But obviously to come back in the tournament now and win it is a great feeling.
Cool. And we'll do one more here, Jake.
Wait, can I ask a question? Who gives player of the tournament out for the competition?
It's UEFA question. It's the UEFA Technical Observer Panel.
Can someone tell him that? Tosin wants it. Okay. Thank you.
So Palmer perhaps having a little fun at his teammates' expense there, but both Tosin and Noni Madueke made it clear how big a part Palmer played last night and for Chelsea in general.
He's the one, man. He's the truth. I feel like when we need him to be there, he's there. Like a lot of us, he had a quiet first half, but then the way he springs into life, super happy for him, man. Super proud of him as well.
What he did today, yeah, it was crazy, to be honest. Two very special individual moments where he was able to hold on to the ball and provide bundles of quality to put the ball onto Enzo's head, onto Nico's foot to score two great goals and completely change the game. And yeah, that's what he does, man.
The bad moment or the bad run he had during this season is going to make him a better player, no doubt. We all know that he's a top player. We need to help him to be in the right position, in the right moment. And then he's quality player. In the last third, he can decide games with goal or with assist. And as you said, the two assists, they have been both very, very nice.
It was a landmark night for Chelsea. They've now won every single UEFA club competition. Just look at all of those, becoming the first club to do so. It started with the now defunct Cup Winners' Cup in 1971 and 1998.
Yeah, they've had plenty of success in their more recent history. They're also 2 times winners of the Champions League and the Europa League, and now they can add the Conference League to that list as well. Well, plenty of celebrations for the Chelsea players. Nicholas Jackson went off injured but danced through the pain as he walked past reporters after the game. It's his first trophy in Chelsea colours, and Enzo Maresca hopes this could kickstart a new era of success at the highest level.
Be a starting point. To build a winner mentality, you need to win games, you need to win competition, and for sure the trophy we won tonight is going to make us better. But also I'm very proud about the path or the journey we have done in the Premier League. That for me is the most difficult competition in the world. You have to be consistent. It's 38 games, and this player they show during this. That's why after Nottingham Forest my outburst was a little bit exaggerate. But the reason why is just because in 38 games you need to be consistent, and with young squad, I mean the youngest squad in the history of Premier League, it's something unbelievable.
It's a medal I always gonna remember. It's thanks to God because it's for him I'm here. And yeah, I'm so happy, everybody is happy, and we're gonna celebrate tonight.
Is this just the first step for what you can achieve as a group of players?
Yeah, it's the first of many, for sure, because we want to win a lot of trophies with this amazing club, and we're gonna do it for sure.
The hairdo was specially for tonight, can you show us?
Yeah, when I put this color, I score goals. That's why I put this color.
It's a European final. I think it's crazy that there was maybe a little bit of talk that we weren't going to take it seriously or that we didn't value the competition. It's a European final. Everyone knows Chelsea's resume in European finals, so we weren't going to be the ones to show up and not do it and not do our job.
Has this been a good season for a young squad?
Of course. Champions League qualification. We've won a trophy. We won the trophy that we could win. You can only win what's in front of you, so I feel like it's been a great season.
Well, Mikhailo Mudryk was joining in the celebrations at the after party as well, posing for a picture with a winner's medal round his neck. He's played 4 times for Chelsea in the Conference League this season before being provisionally suspended in December following a failed doping test.
So, a significant trophy for Chelsea to win. They've now won the lot as far as UEFA competitions go. But how much cause for celebration is there? I think a lot.
Well, you would say that. Defender Miguel Delaney has suggested anything other than success would have actually been a failure for Chelsea, considering the size of their budget. And he's also questioned whether English clubs should even participate in the Conference League.
We were speaking last week about, say, the distance between Manchester United and Tottenham and the rest of the Europa League field. Well, Chelsea to most of the Europa Conference, I mean, it's had they not won this competition, and even in the second half, to be fair, they just physically overpowered Betis because of their greater strength and depth. Look, Betis are a historically big club. They're in La Liga, one of the five big leagues, one of the three strongest. But La Liga's obviously had this massive historic problem of the two big ones recently joined by Atletico Madrid, and a massive gap to the rest, particularly in the last 20 years. And that was borne out in a game like this. And I suppose you could see that with the real emotion from the Betis side and how much they put into this. But then, of course, I would question whether La Liga clubs should be in this competition as well. I think actually, if your league is in the top three by UEFA coefficients, which is a reflection of European club performance, you probably shouldn't have a club in this competition. I'm probably going to get battered by Chelsea fans on social media for this, but it is my honest opinion.
Well, Polish police announced there were 28 arrests made before the final. A water cannon was used after trouble broke out in the main market square in Wrocław. Bottles and smoke bombs were thrown by both sets of fans before the police formed a barrier to keep them apart. According to authorities, there were no injuries.
Transfer news to bring you now involving Liam Delap. Our chief reporter, Kaveh Solokov, joins me now. Who's won the race? I think this is all over, is it, or not?
Well,
not quite yet.
I think Chelsea are close to agreeing a deal to sign Liam Delap. We were talking yesterday about the fact that Chelsea were going to move very, very quickly after the final last night to sign a striker. And we'd kind of been told that the striker they were going to sign first was going to be Liam Delap. But I think they didn't really want the news to come out because they didn't want to put off the players who were playing in the final last night. But the important thing, I think, for Liam Delap is that Chelsea are playing in the Champions League. Also, he's 22. Chelsea are the youngest squad in the Premier League. They are developing. And I think he feels that it's the perfect place for him to move to. And also, he's worked previously with Enzo Maresca at Manchester City. Also, the co-recruitment director at Chelsea, Joe Shields, knows him well as well. So I always had a feeling that if Chelsea got into the Champions League, which they did by beating Nottingham Forest on Sunday, then they had a very, very good chance of signing Liam Delap.
Interesting that the transfer window's open, isn't it? Very shortly, this tiny little window we've got from the 1st to the 10th. So we're going to see clubs do early business, you think?
Yeah, I mean, in a way, if you don't like transfers, I'm sorry, bad news, because usually the season ends and everyone has a little bit of time off and people watch cricket or golf or other sports. But this time round, the season has only just finished, and on Sunday, this new special FIFA-mandated mini transfer window is going to open up for 10 days. Which was supposed to be for clubs who are playing in the Club World Cup. But all other clubs in England, apart from Manchester City and Chelsea, can use that window as well. Now, I know for a fact Chelsea are taking the Club World Cup very, very seriously. They want to have new signings to sort of show off when they go to the United States next month. So I think Chelsea will be very busy. But Liam Delap, Chelsea need a striker. But Liam Delap, the question is, will they sign just one striker or will they sign more strikers this summer as well? Because they've worked with players like Hugo Ekitike, Victor Gyökeres at Sporting, Benjamin Sesko at Leipzig as well. I think players would have to go for Chelsea to bring more players in. But I was just off the phone to someone who told me that Chelsea are going to be busy again this summer. So all these people who were criticising Chelsea last summer, there were a lot of people having fun at Chelsea's expense, saying they were throwing money around. They had a squad of 50 players.
43, I think.
43 players or whatever it was.
He's counting.
Well, it seems like there was method to Chelsea's madness, if you want to call it madness. But I think, interestingly enough, in the Premier League, they only used 26 players. So, yes, they did have 43 players, but a lot of them moved out, were sold, went out on loan. So I think they're sort of pleased with this season, but they're not getting carried away. They know that the ultimate aim for Chelsea is not to be winning, with all due respect, the Europa Conference league. They want to aim higher. They want to win the title. They want to win the Champions League. And I think they feel that Liam Delap is somebody who will help them get where they want to go.
Just finally, quite cheap though, right? So you'd think, you said that they might buy another striker. That's not the biggest price in the world, is it?
No, I mean, £30 million for a 22-year-old who has scored 12 times in the Premier League, in a side that were relegated. You would have to say that is very good value for money, but obviously he had this release clause in his contract when he moved from Manchester City to Ipswich. I think he had to sort of have the safety net of, if Ipswich went down, he didn't want to really be playing in the Championship for at least one more season. He wanted to make sure that he could move to another Premier League club. So it shows you that it's very clever. Whoever drew up his contract did a very, very good job, because he's managed to get this move to another Premier League club. They're going to be in the Champions League. It looks like almost certainly it will be Chelsea.
That the environment is so different at Betis compared to Manchester United that we see this complete turnaround in performance. What's your best guess? Bangers only for Anthony since swapping red for green. Real Betis have gotten the best out of this Brazilian winger, and our Spanish football expert Phil Kitchen-Melidis with more on what he has done during his 5 months in Spain.
From laughingstock to leader in the space of just 4 months, the Anthony redemption story has been absolutely extraordinary to watch in the city of Seville at Real Betis. And can we break it down to something as simple as merely confidence and happiness? Well, that plays a large part. I spoke to Anthony last week. We had a sit-down interview for about 10 minutes, and he mentioned the word happiness about 25 times. It's clear that he's delighted to have found a place where he feels like he can express himself, and that's happened at Real Betis. It's not the first time it's happened at Real Betis as well, because Isco, who is one of the best players in Spain this season and perhaps the last season as well, he arrived at Real Betis having not played any football for 6 months. He was an ex-footballer and he's been turned into a brilliant performer once again by Manuel Pellegrini. That's happened with Anthony, so I think there is something with the setup with Manuel Pellegrini as well, this calming father figure at the helm of Real Betis, which has helped Anthony a lot in terms of how the team is structured. Obviously, he likes to come inside a lot and shoot. When he comes inside, he links up with Isco. Cucho Hernandez drops deep to create more space up ahead as well if he wants to take a player on. So there are tactical nuances to this Betis side which he's fit right into. But I think if we do boil it down to confidence and happiness, perhaps a lack of pressure, that explains why Anthony's been so important. And he will be important against a Chelsea side who will defend really well. So maybe Anthony shooting from distance could be absolutely key. We've seen him score some absolute bangers. I think that's the technical name for them this season already with Real Betis. And perhaps that long shooting could be key against a tight Chelsea side.
So Phil, with his theories there and some really good explanations as well as to why Anthony has been so good. But isn't that the big question going into this game for Real Betis is how is it possible that the environment is so different at Betis compared to Manchester United that we see this complete turnaround in performance? What's your best guess?
Well, it's an interesting question, very difficult to break down. I think the immense pressure comes from not only the media members, but also the supporters at Manchester United and within the football club in general, that they want to have success. It's almost as if the club demands to have success to get back to where they once were. That anything less than that is unacceptable. And when you are being made fun of by trying things out there on the field and it's not quite coming off for you, eventually what will happen is your confidence will drop, and that's what happened to Anthony. The unfortunate part of this whole situation for him, that there was such a large price tag on his head when he arrived at Old Trafford. They spent 95 million to bring him in, which is a ridiculous sum of money. But at the same time, they didn't just bring him in because obviously he looked good on social media clips. They brought him in because he had a talent and they were hoping to develop that talent. Unfortunately for him, however, he arrived at Old Trafford at the wrong time. They were going through developmental phase with coaches, lack of form, lack of confidence, and certainly a ton of pressure from the media members as well. I feel for him. I mean, this guy has gone through an immense amount of pressure, and what people don't see is that footballers, and I can tell you you from personal experience, you take all of that pressure and all of the people who are laughing at you and commenting at you, not necessarily just on social media, but you hear everything inside the supporters sections. You hear everything when you're walking down the tunnel. All of those comments you take home with you and you can't sleep. So to see him being very tearful and obviously describing that he couldn't eat and he was in a depressive state hit very home to me, because I've been in that situation myself. I didn't have a £95 million price tag on my head, and certainly not the pressure of playing at the first team of Manchester United. But that pressure that he went through, he wanted to be successful. He wanted to be the true identity of himself. But unfortunately for him, confidence was lacking, and therefore his performance suffered at the end of the day. And this breakaway to go play for Betis couldn't have happened at a better time, and I don't think it could have gone to a better club.
No question, and Pellegrini has done a remarkable job with him, but I guess the question will be is, looking forward, he is only on loan at Betis. There is this idea that he should stay there and go there permanently. You wonder how the money will work, whether it's a loan, whether it's a transfer, how much money can Betis afford, especially without Champions League football. But how should, if he has to re-enter the market, let's say United say, no thanks, Betis can't afford it. How do the rest of the clubs in Europe now think of Antony? Do you think of him as the player that did not work out in a big club environment at Manchester United, or the talent that we have seen here at Betis?
How has Carlo Ancelotti viewed him? That would probably be the question. Carlo Ancelotti thinks he's good enough for that Brazilian squad. Then I think the rest of the managers will follow what Carlo Ancelotti's believing as well. One of the greatest managers, and probably the greatest in Champions League or UEFA history to have ever done it, has decided to put him back in the Brazilian national team. The goals he's scored have been exceptional this season, and I think the goals bring confidence to him, but also I think you're recognising there's a smile back on his face, and there's a smile around the teammates that are next to him. Isco in particular being very vocal in the media, how important this individual is for Real Betis going forward, how this individual can be to their success. I mean, if you manage to keep a hold of an Antony, and you keep this type of Antony that continue to be goal contributions and obviously very fun in front of the supporters, where he picks up possession and he's back to doing these crazy skills and scoring these bangers, as Phil pointed out, you never quite know what can happen at Betis if they add one or two more really interesting pieces. They've got a great manager on the sidelines who was very shrewd and under pressure before that winter transfer market, and I think he took a brave decision getting Antony through the door, as well as Cucho Hernandez, and the amount of money they spent. He's been rewarded for that, and Antony is absolutely paying everyone back. I think I'd like to see him stay. I just don't know if they can afford him. That's going to be the biggest question.
Yeah, the Betis that we've seen from the end of the January transfer window, if that was the Betis team for the whole season, they could have been on the periphery of the title race in Spain. They were so good in the stretch run to the season. But in this Conference League final, how do you rate their chances against Chelsea?
Well, they're a team that are vulnerable. I went to look back at some of their most recent results, and there's a great stat out there for those who like to place wagers on games. Both teams have scored in the last 11 games, and that's a good thing and a bad thing for Betis, right? One, you're coming up against a Chelsea side that will create chances. They're dangerous. Clearly, if you look at the quality in depth, Chelsea have a more in-depth quality of squad, so they should score a goal in that game. But don't ever rule Betis out of this tie. They can create chances, and with Antony in the side, and unfortunately for Cucho, he's not registered to play, so it'll be Bakumbu who gets the opportunity up front, we would imagine. Isco dancing around like he's at a discotheque right now. I mean, they have got a dangerous team, Witty, that can cause all sorts of problems. I wouldn't put it past them getting their hands on this trophy.
Yeah, it would be absolutely incredible considering how big of favourites Chelsea were, even from the quarterfinal stage. Then Betis have found this form, and they're real contenders to win the UEFA Conference League. That game will be on Paramount Plus on Wednesday from 3 p.m. Now, coming up next, there's some big news from the world of Spanish football. Lamine Yamal is sticking around for a long time at Barca.
At a looming departure from Saudi Pro League side Al Nassr. The Portuguese star posted a cryptic message on social media shortly after Al Nassr's season finale that said, quote, "This chapter is over. The story still being written. Thanks to all." Ronaldo's contract with Al Nassr expires in June, and while Ronaldo has reportedly reached a verbal agreement on an extension, Al Nassr, missing out on next season's Asian Champions League, could have Ronaldo ready to reconsider. He joined Al Nassr from Manchester United in 2022 and has failed to deliver a trophy during his 3 seasons at the club. Now, Nico, there have been rumblings about Ronaldo potentially joining one of the teams in the Club World Cup this season. Where do you think he should go?
I'm looking at the list right now. Which one?
Which one? Maybe he should keep the Al Nassr colors, but in a different continent.
Go on.
And I'm thinking...
Go on.
Atletico.
Go on.
Junior! I don't know how Boga would get it done. It would be epic. Obviously, this is all starting to create a lot of noise because Infantino had strongly hinted that there were Club World Cup teams going after him. I was looking at the European teams. Who wants to take on?
No,
there's a certain
no one.
burden, right? If it's not a European team, it'll be crazy wherever he ends up. Like I'm thinking like a Wydad Casablanca. Imagine Ronaldo playing in CAF Champions League, like away days in Ivory Coast, in South Africa, in Congo, and those fans. Like if you're talking devoted fans, like it's not like something that's a little bit like Al Nassr. That's a league that has a lot of money in it, but the people aren't in it as much. Like Wydad Casablanca, I witnessed it firsthand. Those people are hella in it, and other teams in Argentina, Brazil, Monterrey.
Can they afford his wages? Can they afford all that?
Maybe Mexico. I don't think Argentina could afford his wages.
I mean, if we're being realistic, there's 2 Portuguese teams, Benfica and Porto.
Is he gonna go there?
No, he played for Sporting.
We're thinking Portuguese. Well, it's Portuguese-speaking team.
Yeah,
what about Brazil? Right? Brazil's doing this renaissance of getting players from Europe, mostly Brazilian, but also some foreigners. Memphis Depay's having success with Corinthians. I'd love to see Cristiano Ronaldo at maybe a Flamengo or Palmeiras, right?
Yeah, I just, it would seem so foreign to me for Cristiano Ronaldo, someone of his status, to go and like playing away games at like not the big clubs in Brazil. How Brazil would be able to handle that?
All right, so this is going to melt the internet. He's going to join Inter Miami and Messi, and it's just...
That would be crazy.
Heads would explode. But when you look at viable options that could potentially afford him, they have to be on the list. Obviously, I don't see it happening. But it would be pretty intense.
I mean, he's 40, right? He's 39.
He's 40,
He's 40 years old.
Yeah.
It seems like a quick get him and see what he can give you in like a short burst. I would love to see.
You have to rework your whole team though. If you bring somebody like him on,
but
you're changing your identity to help you get to the FIFA Club.
Those are more European teams. Like at a Latin American team, I mean, he gives you a certain goal scoring quota. Ronaldo in the Libertadores, you need him to like. For example, Riquelme, when he came back to Boca in the 2007 Copa Libertadores, he went knockout stage forward. He didn't play the whole year, and he killed it. Obviously, Ronaldo's at a different point in his career, but the prowess that he still has at a tournament, the level of the Libertadores, it would be crazy to see him play in
No, it would be. And it would be fun to do it. Yeah. I'm just saying that if you bring him into the team, most of these smaller clubs that we're saying are realistic options, they're going to have to fight to take on the European teams, right? And he's not counter-pressing, he's not backtracking to do the extra work. You need that from all 11 players for them to have a deep run in this tournament.
So there's a team that I want to put out there. We talk about the Club World Cup. We talk about a team that already has a high-profile player that came from Europe. Rayados, Monterrey, a club that needs a goal scorer, a club that needs something positive to talk about, a club that needs something other than Sergio Ramos, two-footing players getting reunited. I'm about that life.
I feel like there's not that many places that they can afford to take on Cristiano. And it's like Rayados of Monterrey, Inter Miami, maybe a Brazilian club. But like, you're talking about all this like counter-pressing stuff. Like, if you told me today you get Cavani or Ronaldo on Boca, Cavani plays for Boca. I take Ronaldo over Cavani. Cavani, he can give you counter-pressing for like...
Okay, that's fair.
Like, have you seen Boca counter-press?
It's more marketing at this point.
It's for sure.
Last year I saw them.
Boca is, and I think this is a lot of the standard of... I think we're thinking way too highly, or at least you are thinking way too highly of the Latin American clubs. Like, they don't. I'm not watching Brazilian football week in, week out to be like, all right, Flamengo is much better than
knowing who
Palmeiras is
they know who their opponents are. So going into that, they have to prepare accordingly.
and just to sit back and play, smoke cigarettes, and sip some cappuccino with it. That's not going to happen. They have to go and play and press. And he's not going to be a net add.
Okay, so what's the answer to this question? He's going to enter Miami?
Well, if Infantino is saying that he's going to come to the Club World Cup, then yeah, there's only a few options.
Could you imagine?
We know that Cristiano Ronaldo is brand focused as well as football focused.
Yeah.
Right? And so I like the prospect of him leaving Europe to come to a club in North America. I'm jumping on the Rayados train. I'm jumping on it.
You can only have so many luxury players in your team. Real Madrid proved that with Mbappe and Vinicius. You can only have so many guys walking around.
In an age where Lionel Messi has dominated this hemisphere of the market, now you have a conversation where he would potentially leapfrog that with a good Club World Cup, with a Rayados team that's in desperate need of someone to come in and save the day. I mean, it's everything he lives for. And Ronaldo fans, please don't come at me. I'm sick and tired of you guys in my DMs. But I think this is a match made.
Now they're going to come
Listen, I have Sebastian Giovinco on my upcoming TST team.
I was just going to say.
And if Cristiano wants to come, we can maybe find room for him. But he's got to do work on both sides of the ball.
I have a question. Ronaldo goes to your TST team, you are automatic champions. Do you think you would win TST without like a shadow of a doubt if he's on your team?
No, I don't think we would.
Are you?
I'm so glad you said that. I'm so glad you said that.
TST is a whole different type of game. Now, listen, I'm the coach of Quick Goal FC, so I'd like
Jimmy
to back
Conrad
myself.
just said that TST is a whole other kind of competition. I don't think Ronaldo would be. Really?
I think he would help.
So Ronaldo-Giovinco combination.
Now, that would be sick. It would be nice.
Okay, hold up. So I understand TST. If you had Lamine Yamal on your TST team,
he would be more influential and impactful than Cristiano.
Ronaldo.
Yeah.
You're
There's
more
not
of
a lot of space. He needs some room to. Not say he's amazing at getting shots off and creating opportunities.
I'll say this.
Tough stuff. Sorry,
it's not
Ronaldo.
tough stuff.
I'll take a fit Mike Grella over Cristiano Ronaldo at TSC.
Mike Grella wishes he was
I'll
as
take
fit
a
as
fit Mike Grella
Ronaldo.
last year. Did you not see Grelladino last year?
I saw, yes. And he surprised me with his athleticism, his remaining athleticism. I love you, Grella. But this guy takes care of himself better than any other player.
His data, it was his Garmin or the Whoop or whatever, his fitness age is like
unreal.
28 or something like that.
Jeez.
Mine's 27.5, thank you very much. Wow. But his is 28, that's pretty impressive.
What a flex.